Now that we've gone through the mechanical fundamentals of playing snare drum, we're going to move on to the dynamic fundamentals of playing the instrument. Now, as musicians, we use the markings mezzo piano, piano, mezzo forte, forte, double forte, triple forte. I know that there are more, but generally those are the ones that are used for battery percussion. Due to the mathematical nature of battery instruments, most battery musicians use the inch system. What do I mean by inch system? Well, the inch system is used by many battery percussionists to visually set dynamic levels. Now, personally, I'm not the hugest fan of the inch system because it is often misconstrued in the way you should be playing dynamics. So an example would be if I asked a student to play forte, which is about 9 inches, but they're playing it incorrectly. They're playing with a lot of tension in their arm, a lot of tension in their shoulder, and it sounds more like this. Now, the student thinks they're playing forte because of the fact that they're meeting the height requirement, but the sound is just not there, so it's inherently false. They are not playing forte, they are playing 9 inches. So for the sake of learning and developing your visual and dynamic understanding, we're gonna go with the inch system. But always keep in mind that example and how you always wanna make sure you're playing dynamics before heights, dynamics before inches. Use it as a general rule of thumb, but the sound is most important. So I know I said it before, but now we'll actually go through each dynamic from quietest to loudest. First off, we have mezzo piano. Now, mezzo piano being the softest is sub-tap height. So tap height is usually 3 inches. Mezzo piano calls for something softer than 3 inches. And this is generally used to play buzz passages or soft ostinatos in an ensemble, or generally just nice little soft backbeats where you don't want too much attention on the battery, but they're still there, they're still playing something. So remember that you always want to strive for sub-tap height sounds. I'm also meeting the height requirement, but I'm mostly using my ears to try to sound softer than piano. Now we move on to piano. Piano in the height system is 3 inches, and this is generally our tap height. Generally, in battery percussion music, you don't see the tap height written, but you will see the accent height. Most of the time, you can just assume that the tap height is 3 inches for piano. So tap heights would be right about here. Right about parallel with the drum. Again, you're striving for the sound, not so much the height, but if you can get both, then. Now we move on to mezzo forte, my personal favorite. Mezzo can be loosely translated to moderately, which stands for moderately loud at 6 inches. And in mezzo piano's instance, it was moderately soft. So 6 inches is usually about the size of a dollar bill, but obviously you can break out the ruler if you really wanted to. This is where we get to the louder, nice, full sound of the drum. Now, that doesn't mean you're not playing through the drum at piano, but you can really start to hear it when you start to play at least mezzo forte. That's about moderately loud. Now we move on to forte. Forte stands for just plain old loud. And when we get to here, we play at a comfortable 9 inches, which is mathematically just 3 inches above mezzo forte. The drum really starts to sing and it honestly gets kind of loud. That's the point, right? Forte is loud. Next up, we have double F, which most people just refer to as double forte. Here, we get the arm involved a little bit and we go up to 12 inches, which is pretty much the height of a ruler. Most accent heights in battery percussion music range around forte and double forte, so it's good to get comfortable at these levels so you can play nice, good sounding accents. Lastly, we have triple forte or 15. Some people refer to this as vertical. Whatever your program calls for in terms of its dynamic demands, then you meet that with triple forte. An example vertical, quite literally, is you would have to be playing eighths to come up to a vertical stance. So at this point, you're getting the most volume you can out of the drum without probably, breaking it. This isn't really commonly used outside of big drum solo moments or the end of a show. Now that we've gone through the dynamics, let's talk about it a little bit. It's very easy to let go of the idea of dynamics when you're playing such a loud, abrasive drum. Not that I don't love the loudness and the abrasiveness of snare drum, but because of that, it demands dynamic attention that much more. So make sure when you're learning dynamics, you're not playing them like a drummer or like a snare drummer or like you're a musician too. So play them like a musician. Sound really does matter. It has to be at the forefront of your concentration always. If something doesn't sound good, it's probably as a result of some tension in your hands or your body, and that'll directly translate to anything you try to play with dynamics tenfold. I'll end with the importance of understanding that quantity of sound and quality of sound are not the same thing. Knowing that difference will put you at the front of an audition or getting cut on the first night. The growth that can come from understanding that concept is just exponential. So do it.